Hello everybody and welcome, and in this video I'm going to be telling you some really bizarre tales of alien and UFO encounters that, people say they happened, who know if they actually did happen, or maybe they were just tripping balls. But here are 6 really bizarre stories of alien encounters. Betty and Barney Hill were an American couple allegedly abducted by aliens in rural New Hampshire in 1961. While driving home at around 10:30 p.m., they saw a UFO in the sky that seemed to be growing in size. The UFO then began following them, highly distressing the couple. They then heard beeping and buzzing bouncing off their vehicle, and they said they experienced the onset of an altered state of consciousness that dulled their minds. Returning home at dawn, they felt odd sensations. Their watches wouldn't work. Their clothes were distressed. Their car had strange markings on it. Contacting the Air Force, they were interviewed, and Barney was discovered to have some form of mental block. Things he didn't want to remember. Betty then began to have vivid dreams of aliens. Eventually, the couple went through hypnosis, and the alleged abduction was detailed.
I want to wake up. You're not going to wake up. You're in deep sleep. You're comfortable. Relax. This is not going to trouble you. Go on. It's right over my right. God, what is it? And I try to maintain control so Betty cannot tell I am scared. God, I'm scared. It's all right. You can go right on and experience it. It will not hurt you now. I got to get my gun. Oh! I got to get my gun! All right. All right, that's all. Stop. I got to get my gun! Go to sleep, Steve. You forget now. Oh, you forget it now. You've forgotten. And I walk out, and I walk across the road. There it is up there. Oh, God damn it! Calm down. Calm down. It's there, but you can see it, but it's not going to hurt you. Go on. Yes, I thought. What's his face like? What does it make you think of? It's round. I think of a red-haired Irishman. It's all right. I'll dig in my head. All right. Pull the binoculars away. God, give me strength. I know it's in my mind, and I don't want to say it.
They were forced onto a spaceship by humanoid-looking aliens, with samples being taken from Barney, and Betty having a conversation with their leader, who spoke English. They were then allowed to leave. Betty suggested she could draw a star map of where they came from, and that Earth was along an alien trade route. The story was made into a best-selling novel and movie. 22-year-old Frederick Valentichs was on a training flight in a Cessna over the Bass Strait in Australia in 1978. After radioing saying that he was seeing an alien spaceship flying beside him, he was never heard from again. Frederick was determined to have a career in aviation, and so while flying to rack up his flight hours, he radioed Melbourne Flight Service at 7:06 p.m. saying an unidentified aircraft was following him at 4,500 feet. With Melbourne saying there was no known traffic at that level, he then reported that the UFO seemed to be toying with him. He then said it was hovering above him, and that it had a shiny metal surface and green lights. Frederick then reported that he was experiencing engine problems, and when asked by operators to identify the aircraft, he said it isn't an aircraft.
Sierra Juliet, is there any known traffic below 5,000 feet? No known traffic.
Seems to be a large aircraft below 5,000 feet.
What type of aircraft is it?
I cannot confirm. It's four bright, seems to me like landing lights. The aircraft has just passed over me at least 1,000 feet above. Is there any Air Force aircraft in the vicinity?
No known aircraft in the vicinity.
Seems to be playing some sort of game. He's flying over me. Delta Sierra Juliet, it's not an aircraft, it's...
Can you describe the aircraft?
As it's flying past, it's a long shape. Cannot identify it, it has such speed. It's before me right now, Melbourne.
How large would the object be?
Seems like it's stationary. What it's doing right now is orbiting. The thing is just orbiting on top of me. It's also got a green light and a sort of metallic, like, it's shiny on the outside. It's just vanished. That strange aircraft's hovering on top of me again. It's hovering and it's not an aircraft.
His transmission was interrupted by unidentified noises, described as being metallic, scraping sounds, and he was never heard from again. Sea and air search proved fruitless, and to this day no one knows what happened to him. The Kelly Hopkinsville encounter was a series of alleged close encounters with aliens that occurred in a rural farmhouse in Kentucky. 7 people who were at the farmhouse claimed that they were being terrorized by aliens all night long, described as being 3 feet tall, with upright ears, thin limbs, and claw-like hands. To begin the night, when Billy Ray Taylor was visiting the Sutton family, he popped out at 7 p.m. to go and get some water from the well to drink. He said he saw strange lights in the sky, a disc that was all the colors of the rainbow. An hour later, they all began to hear strange noises outside. The dog begins to bark, then it hides under the house. Going outside with weapons, they see a strange creature emerge from the forest. Immediately firing at it, as you would, it disappears. As they investigate, they see another on top of the house behind them. They shoot it also and knock it off, but it escapes. Members who remained inside the house say they saw the monsters looking in the windows. For the rest of the night, they hear them crawling all over the house, trying to get in. Eventually, the family decides to escape the house, fleeing to their cars and driving to the nearest police station. Officers there determined that the family were frightened beyond belief, and 20 officers accompanied them back home. Once the police left at about 2 a.m., the creatures returned, stalking the family. They eventually disappeared at about 4:45 a.m., never to be seen again. Police and nearby families reported that they saw strange lights in the sky near the farm, and also heard strange noises in the dark. Antonio Villas-Boas was a Brazilian farmer, and he had probably one of the better alien encounters. Let's get into it. That's what he said. Antonio Villas-Boas claimed to have been abducted by aliens in 1957. His were the first stories to receive worldwide attention. He claimed that when he was 23 years old, working on a farm, he would work at night to avoid the hot temperatures during the day. One night in October 1957, he saw what he described as a red star. It came closer and closer until he could make out its egg-like shape, and it landed on 3 legs in the field he was working on. He then tried to flee. While he was attempting to drive away in his tractor, the engine died, and he was seized by a 5-foot-tall humanoid, wearing grey overalls and a helmet, with small blue eyes and a barking speech. 3 more joined and he was dragged into the spaceship. Once inside, he was stripped naked and covered in a weird gel. He was taken into a semicircular room with strange red markings on the wall, and blood was taken from his chin. While he was alone, gas was pumped into the room which made him really sick. Then he was joined by another alien, this one a female, and apparently very attractive and naked, so bonus points for that. They had sex, after which she rubbed her stomach and pointed upwards, which Antonio took to mean that she would raise his child in space. After this, he was given back his clothes and taken on a tour of the ship. He attempted to take something as proof, but was prevented by the aliens. Of course, he was then escorted off the ship and they flew away. Antonio later became a lawyer, married and had 4 children. Apparently those 4 were all human, just in case you were wondering. Many doubted his story, but he was actually able to remember every detail until his death. And when experts examined him, he had been found to have been exposed to a large dose of radiation, so make of that what you will. The Allagash abductions were sightings and an alleged alien abduction that occurred in 1976. 2 brothers named Jim and Jack Weiner, along with their friends Charles Fultz and Charles Rack, claim they were abducted by aliens during a camping trip in Allagash, Maine in August 1976. Through hypnosis, the 4 men recalled being taken aboard a circular UFO and being probed and tested by 4-fingered aliens with almond eyes. Saying it lasted 2 hours, they continue to claim their story as true to this very day. Jan Wolski claims he was abducted by aliens in May 1978 in Emilchin, Poland. While driving a horse-drawn cart early on May 10th, he said he was jumped by 2 5-foot-tall green-faced humanoids. They jumped into his cart and started speaking to him in a strange language. He was then taken to a clearing where a pure white UFO as big as a bus was hovering. He was then taken aboard, stripped naked, and was examined with a tool that resembled 2 dishes. After he redressed, he was offered alien food that looked like icicles, and returned home to his family. Returning to the site with his family and friends, the craft was gone, but the grass was heavily trampled, with footprints of the aliens being the only remaining sign. Today, there is a monument in Emilchin at the site. Well, there you go. So, some pretty bizarre and kind of creepy tales, I'm not gonna lie. They're messed up and no aliens for me. Nah, I'm good. No thanks. I hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next video. Mike out.